Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us on today's Ultimate Fighter Media Conference call. Yesterday, the UFC officially announced that UFC light heavyweight champion John Bones Jones and challenger Chael Sonnen had been named coaches for season 17 of The Ultimate Fighter, set to air in January on FX. Today on the call, we're joined by UFC President Dana White, along with both John and Chael. So I'll turn it over to Dana for opening remarks.
And we also have Chuck Sappler from FX on here. That's it. Who's got the first question?
If you would like to ask a question, please press star one. If you're joining us today, use a speakerphone. Please make sure your mute function is turned off to allow your signal to reach our equipment. And if you did press star one before, please press star one once again. Again, that will be star one for questions, please. We'll pause for just a moment. And our first question will come from Kevin Richardson with the Baltimore Sun.
Hi, my first question is for John. John, I know you had mentioned that you didn't want to fight Chael before because you didn't think he was worthy of actually fighting for the championship. He hadn't fought anyone in 205 in many years. What changed your mind? Was it the money that they offered?
No, it wasn't anything. My decision had nothing to do with finances. It really just had to do with, just getting over this chapter in my career. It's like I'm trying to move forward and do a lot of amazing things. And, the UFC 151 cancellation, it's like it was a tough moment in my career. And I think beating Chael Sonnen would help me, beating Chael Sonnen. And then after that, beating Dan Henderson, would help me just have closure to that whole situation. So I think this is really what this is about for me. It's just putting closure to the Chael Sonnen invasion of my career, and the whole 151 situation.
Now, have you had a chance to, I know you'll be taping pretty soon, have you had a chance to choose your coaches?
Yeah, I've been doing some calls around trying to see who'll be willing to do it, and I've chosen a few.
Thank you, and good luck, John.
Thanks, buddy.
Once again, if you would like to ask a question, please press star one. Next question will come from Lance Pudmeyer with Los Angeles Times.
Hey, John. I just wanted you, so it sounds like what you're saying is that your past, decision to decline fighting Chael, it was not really about whether or not you can win this fight. And why do you believe that you can beat Chael in this matchup?
Well, what was your first question? I don't get it.
It sounds like what you're saying is this was never about whether or not the fact you can beat Chael. So why can you beat him? Why will you beat him in April?
Yeah, I don't think none of it had anything to do with whether or not I thought I could beat Chael. It really was about just fighting and handling my career in the most professional manner. And, taking last-minute fights when you're fighting for a world championship is not fair to me. And it's something that hopefully I'll never have to do. I just wanted to fight Chael with an appropriate time to prepare for a guy like Chael. And whether or not I think I can beat Chael, I absolutely know I can beat Chael. And I'm really confident going into this fight based on my skill set, my youth, versatility. Mm-hmm. And I'm a championship fighter, and I don't think Chael's really a guy who knows how to win championships. So, with that being said, I believe in every way, shape, or form that I'll beat Chael.
John, can you clarify exactly what happened when you came out here to Los Angeles for a visit with a specialist? What did he find in your arm where he said you need a significant layoff here?
Yeah, they said that I probably shouldn't be training for the next several months. Filming the show might be a little more difficult, but I'll definitely give it my best. And like I said, I brought in some pretty great coaches, and I'll definitely be getting hands-on with the fighters, I'm sure. But they found small tears in my elbow, and right now I'm just doing some rehab, and I'm excited to be able to do the rehab in Las Vegas with some of the UFC recommended therapists, to get me back healthy.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And our next question will come from Mac Engel with the Fort Worth Star-Telegram.
First question's for Dana. Dana, any chance that you guys are any closer to staging a big fight at Cowboy Stadium in Arlington sometime next year? I know you've mentioned it. The Cowboys have mentioned it. I want to just get an update on that first.
Yeah, it just depends on how everything lines up, what big fights we can make, what injuries will or won't happen. We'll see how everything plays out. But yeah, we definitely are planning on doing a big fight there.
Do you have any timeline, Dana, when you would like to do that by?
No. As soon as we can make, that big fight where we feel like we could sell close to 100,000 or 100,000 tickets.
Okay. Next question, Dana. Thank you. The next question is for John. John, as a coach, and now that you're around some of these younger guys coming up, when you look back at your career and what you've done, what are the biggest pieces of advice that you can give to young fighters breaking into this sport who want to make it their career? Like, what are the things that you've done? You said, "Man, I wish I had done differently. I wish somebody had told me X, Y, or Z."
I guess the biggest things that's contributed to my success, and that I'll definitely try to get across to the guys that I'm coaching, is to be extremely passionate first and foremost. And hopefully my passion about martial arts will inspire my fighters. But first, and foremost, is just the passion that I'm going to try to be a living example of, and show them the importance of. And then the other thing I would have to say is to have the work ethic to back up that passion. Everyone has passion. Chael has passion. Obviously you see the way he talks and what he's tried to do, what he's done to get to where he's at now. But passion is worth nothing if you don't have the work ethic to really back that passion up. So passion and work ethic, that's what I'm about, and that's what I'm going to be showing my fighters on the show.
Next question comes from Dave Meltzer with MMAfighting.com.
Yeah, a couple things. Dana, can you kind of explain why Chael got the pick? Obviously it's going to be something criticized since he's coming off of a loss, hasn't fought in the weight class, and there are a number of contenders, that one would think would be higher rated than Chael as far as getting it. And so why Chael? Why is Chael getting the pick for the next title shot?
Yep. So basically, we got the word that after John went out and got his elbow checked that he was out and he couldn't fight till April. So it made sense for him to do the Ultimate Fighter. Why block up? We can still fight. Machida can fight. Dan Henderson can fight. All these Gustafsson and Shogun are going to fight in December, and so everything will keep right on moving. When I talk to and I'll let Jones speak for himself. Obviously, Chael wants this fight. Has been asking for this fight. The fans wanted this fight. Yeah, there's some people now that are saying, "Oh, this is ridiculous," whatever. John, I'll let John speak for himself. John said, "Listen, I'm going to be there. I can't fight till April. I'd like to go in there and whoop Chael's ass, and then I'll defend the belt against whoever you want me to defend the belt against." So it made sense. These guys will both coach the Ultimate Fighter. They'll fight when the season's over, and then whoever's next in line at 205 pounds can fight John Jones next for the title.
Now, when it comes to the Ultimate Fighter and the show itself, is there any talk as far as the show not being on Fridays for that season? Is it still going to be on Fridays? Is it a work in progress? How's that kind of working?
That's a question for Chuck Sappler from FX. He's on the line. Chuck, go ahead with that one.
The show is going to move off of Friday nights.
Okay. We've heard a rumor of Tuesday. Does that sound right?
Can't confirm the day right now, but it's definitely moving off of Friday. It's definitely moving to a weekday. There will be an announcement on that somewhere in the next 30, 45 days. But I will say that Spike should watch their ass.
Okay. And another thing, when it comes to that, how important was it from your standpoint to get people of the caliber of Jones and Sonnen, on that show when moving it to a weekday? Was
Was that part of it, or did you just decide that, hey, Friday's not the right day for this show, and it was going to happen for next year no matter what?
Look, we were absolutely monitoring the Friday situation, and we want to see if there is a day that can work better for the show. Certainly with Jones and Sonnen as the coaches for this upcoming season, we have probably the best casting that we've seen for this show, and we have really high expectations for what the ratings will be as a result. So I think with the move off of Friday and with the casting, we have very, very big expectations for ratings.
Okay, and for Chael, I know that you doing the show has come up in the past, and there were things that kind of held it back. I mean, is doing the show been like a goal for you, or is it just kind of a means to the end of getting another championship match?
Oh, it's a means to the end. It's a tremendous nuisance. I don't want to go to Las Vegas. I live in West Lynn, and but look, that's the way it goes. And I appreciate you bringing up the show. I think a few of the reporters on this might have misunderstood the point of today's call. It's not for John and I. The show is coming up. It's on FX, and it's coming to a living room near you. I would also like to mention to the media, and I really hope they report this, this show is the single biggest and toughest tournament that we have in this sport. This isn't a four-man tournament that gets spread over the course of a year. This is a 32-man tournament that will take place over 5.5 weeks and be aired over 10 of the most successful ratings weeks that FX has ever seen. This is a tournament that is tougher than the Olympic Games. It's tougher than the NFL playoffs. It's tougher than any tournament in sports. And that storyline constantly gets missed. This is no more reality TV than an NFL playoff or the Olympics were. It's real and it's on TV. The bottom line is this is a tournament, and this is a tournament so tough that great fighters like Josh Koscheck, Gray Maynard, Stephen Bonner, Chris Leben couldn't even win it. It's so tough that world champions Forrest Griffin and Rashad Evans came through it. I happen to know the talent that has been selected for this show. This will put all of those seasons to shame, and there is a world champion, if not more than one, that's in these young men. Write this down. The toughest tournament in mixed martial arts is coming to FX.
Also for Dana, what's the filming schedule like? When is it going to start? And also, do you have a venue or ideas for venues for this show? Is it going to be a Vegas show, or is it going to be a stadium show, or is that still to be determined?
Yeah, no, it'll be. You talking about the finale?
Yeah, the fight, the Jones-Sonnen fight.
Yeah, the finale will be at the Hard Rock. It premieres in January, and then we're talking right now. This isn't etched in stone, but we're talking about New Jersey for the Jones fight.
Okay, all right. Thanks very much. Thanks everybody.
Yep, thank you.
Next will be Ariel Helwani with MMAfighting.com.
Hey guys, thanks for the time. Dana, do you know when the premiere date for The Ultimate Fighter will be?
Yeah, January.
No, the actual date.
Oh, we don't have. We're not putting out the date yet.
Not yet.
Okay. And what do you say, Dana, obviously this has been very big news and polarizing news. What do you say to not only the fans, but to the fighters? I'm sure you heard of what Lyoto tweeted and Henderson tweeted today, who feel like, Chael talked his way to a title shot and does not deserve this opportunity.
Well, I can tell you this, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Dan Henderson had the opportunity for the fight. He got injured, right? Now he got injured. Now Jones is injured. Jones is injured till friggin' April. So these guys will fight. He's going to do the Ultimate Fighter with him. Every one of these guys that are bitching about a title shot now were offered the fight and turned it down. They refused to fight John Jones. Now they're bummed out because Chael stepped up on 8 days' notice, and he's going to coach the Ultimate Fighter and fight him. I mean, it's pretty simple. These guys will coach. John Jones is hurt anyway. It's not like we're pulling Jones, putting the title on hold and pulling Jones off to do the Ultimate Fighter with Chael. He's hurt and can't fight till April. These guys will do this. They'll fight, and then we can continue to have the light heavyweight division rolling, and we'll have an absolute number one contender when Jones comes back.
Okay, and question for Chuck. Can you just elaborate, if possible, on your Spike should watch their ass comment?
Clearly, Spike has been dogging us for, most of this year with the launch of the 2 seasons of The Ultimate Fighter by, trying to create viewer confusion and scheduling old episodes against The Ultimate Fighter and trying to pass them off as new content. They'll be out of the UFC game effective in January. They're going to try to launch a new product. They're going to try to launch their own reality show that competes with The Ultimate Fighter or that does a very similar thing to The Ultimate Fighter with their Bellator product. And, just saying that, we watched how they behaved and we're well aware of their behavior and how they've, how they've acted competitively.
So does that mean you will try to look to go head-to-head with their programming next year?
Not ready to commit to that, but we're certainly, going to be watching how they schedule, what they schedule, and where they schedule.
And was this part of, for lack of a better word, a negotiation with the UFC? Because obviously it seemed like FX liked Friday nights. There were some reservations, it seemed, from the UFC's end, saying, okay, we get a mega fight, mega players like this, but we have to change dates. Well, was that part of the discussion here for changing and moving off the Friday night slot?
No, not really. I mean, we want to put shows where they're going to work best. And, we really believe in this product. We're huge fans of what Dana and Lorenzo and Craig Pelagian have built over, the last 7 years prior to it coming to FX. And, we want to find the best place for this product for it to work.
Okay, and just 2 last quick questions. One more for Dana. If John was 100% healthy, who would have been the coaches for The Ultimate Fighter? It seemed like Anthony Pettis thought he was in the running. Can you tell us who you were considering?
Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea.
Okay, and then one for Chael. Would you be able to respond to, and a lot of people were surprised to see what Dan Henderson tweeted this morning and some of the other fighters, your peers. Can you respond to them and to the critics who say that you don't deserve this? Guys who work with you, side by side with you, who fight against you, who train with you, who are saying, you clearly don't deserve this opportunity.
Well, Aaron, let's be clear. You made that quote up. Nobody has said Chael clearly doesn't deserve anything. Secondly, welcome to life. We don't deserve things. You get what you get. And let's understand, not one of those fighters said, hey, Dana, I'll fight Chael. Hey, Dana, let me prove that I'm the number one contender. Let me fight that guy. Not one of them. They all sat there and said their little things, but I've called every one of those bastards out, and I'll call them out right now. And I got no problem getting a tune-up fight and slapping any one of these guys around, including the Karate Kid. So, not only do they not want to carry the heavy water and fight me, they don't want to fight John Jones. Not one of them's called out John. The only fighter to call Jones out is me. Nobody calls me out. I don't turn down fights, and I never get hurt. I will fight anybody at any time. So these guys can go say all these things they want, but not one of them has stepped up. I got to deal with this all the time, where guys always get jealous or envious of an opportunity, but they never want to walk out to the mound and point to the crowd and tell them where they're going to hit the ball. I will. I'll call my shots. And as far as talking my way into it, what do I care about that? So what? I talked my way into it. I wanted it, and I got it. I talked a cat out of a tree earlier today. I'll do whatever I want. I've got plenty of jobs that I wasn't qualified for, and I went in and I got promoted anyway. So at the end of it all, Ariel, good for me, and chalk one more up for the bad guy.
And the next question will come from Ron Kruk with Inside MMA.
Hey, guys, I have a question for Chael. Chael, you have been in this sport a long time. You have faced off against some of the top fighters in MMA. where do you feel that Jon Jones ranks with some of those top fighters? And in your opinion, Chael, do you feel he deserves the accolades that he's been receiving?
I think Jon Jones is the best fighter that I've ever seen. If I was to compare him to somebody, I would put Randy Couture above him, but a lot of that's just out of respect. I don't believe he's Randy Couture, but I believe he's fantastic. He's got techniques. I don't even know what they're called. So yeah, good for Jon. But look, he needs me. The bottom line is he hasn't beat anybody until he beats me. And let's go down the line. He beat Bader. He beat Shogun. He beat, who's that glorified Hollywood extra, Rampage, Vitor. What's next? He's going to fight Scott Ferozzo? Listen, he needs me, and I am the man. And I'm the man because I say I'm the man. And if anybody else wants the spot, come say it and come take it from me, man. I don't turn any of these guys down. These guys all talk tough, and behind the scenes, they don't sign the contract. These guys are all blowing up on their little Twitter accounts. Come do the heavy lifting, boys. I'll be there.
Quick follow-up, Chael. Have you picked coaches? Do you have some ideas who you want to work with?
Yes.
Can you tell us?
Chael Sonnen will be the coach.
All yourself.
Chael Sonnen is going to take half of these young men and teach them to be fighters, and Jon Jones is going to take half of these young men and teach them to be selfish. The good news is, for Jon's team, I'm sure when it's all over, he'll throw a hell of an after party.
Oh, that's great.
John, will you throw a hell of an after party?
I just might. Definitely in April, for sure.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
And once again, if you would like to ask a question, please press star one. Again, that is star one if you'd like to ask a question. We'll pause for just a moment. Next will be Franklin McNeil with ESPN.com.
Yeah, my first question is for Chael. Chael, what is it that you bring, and I know guys are being critical now, but what is it that you bring to the octagon that Jon's previous opponents do not or have not?
Really just two things, Franklin. First off, I've been on both sides of an ass whipping, and that's something that Jon hasn't. Jon's been very dominant, but he's also fought a lot of guys that are timid and they're afraid to get in a fight. I'm going to walk out there and I'm going to get into a fist fight. And above everything, I'm in a lot better shape than Jon or anybody else he's fought. And as much as I'll admit, Jon is better. Skill for skill, he's fantastic. Jon will admit I'm in better shape than anybody he's fought.
No, we're talking you being in good shape on TRT or off of TRT?
On TRT, Jon. You tell everybody. You let the media know. Now, let's move on.
Okay, my next question is for Dana. Dana, you spoke earlier about this being an opportunity for the other light heavyweight contenders to put themselves in position to be the number one contender, but you also said that they would get their shot at Jon Jones. What do you think? Do you believe Chael can win this fight, basically?
Yeah, you know how I am. Every time you guys ask me whether, who do you think's going to win this one or that one, I don't ever predict how fights are going to go. I can tell you this. There's a lot of fights that I've watched throughout the last 13 years where I thought one guy was going to win, no problem, and somebody else wins. You never know in the sport. Anything is possible. Jon Jones has been incredibly dominant over the last year and a half, and, who knows? We'll see.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Next will be Bob Emanuel with Scripps Howard.
Chael, you talked about the excitement of coaching these guys. How exciting do you think the prospect is of 3, 4, even 10 years down the line, watching these guys that were relatively strangers to you at the time when you start coaching them, watching their development over the long haul of their career? How exciting do you think that'll be in the future for you?
You know, I think that's the one and only thing you get as a coach. It's the one and only reward. Is you do get to be part of it, and you do get to see guys succeed in the next generation. So, yeah, I mean that's great. That's the biggest benefit.
All right, thank you.
And next will be James Bryden with Sportsnet Canada.
Oh, hi, John. Last week you tweeted that part of you wondered whether having fight with Sonnen delegitimizes the championship belt. I'm wondering if you feel that way today, or is there something different that may change the way you're thinking as you two are going to fight?
Well, I'm kind of split between the middle. I think a lot of the belts should be about the legit number one contender. But as a sport, without the fans, where's our sport? What does our sport mean? And just 2 months ago, I had the whole world, was calling me a sissy and a wuss and saying I'm afraid of Chael Sonnen. And even my own fans in my own hometown questioned why I wouldn't fight Chael Sonnen. It seems like a lot of people have jumped on this train of Chael not deserving a title shot. They jumped on that train a little too late. I think I'm over the fact of whether he deserves it or not, and I'm getting more realistic with the fact that the fans really want it. And to go back to what I said originally, without the fans, who are any of us? So I think that's really pushed me to the point of looking for this Ultimate Fighter opportunity. I'm injured. I had nothing to do anyways but to try to heal and to be in Vegas, working with some of the best physical therapists I can, to coach the Ultimate Fighter, to put the Chael Sonnen chapter behind me, to give the fans what they want all in one go, I think is a great decision. So does it delegitimize the belt? I'm going to have to say in some ways, but in some ways it doesn't, because this has nothing to do with the belt for me. Chael's not getting close to the belt. This is more about putting him into irrelevance.
And then for Dana, I think some fans are concerned that this may set a precedent for people getting their title shots. But you explained it pretty well earlier as to why this is happening in this circumstance. I'm just wondering what your response is to people who say something like, well, this devalues the championship.
I think people that said that maybe yesterday or the day before didn't really know the whole situation.
Yeah.
Now that all the facts are out there, I mean, it's pretty simple and actually really makes sense. The fact that, this kid's going to be sitting around until April anyway. He coaches this thing. When he's able to fight, he fights Chael Sonnen. Then there's no clogging up the division. It's not like we're clogging up the light heavyweight division, for a guy who wasn't a contender. Like John just said, I looked at this thing and I said, listen, I can get in there, I can coach the Ultimate Fighter, and I get to fight Chael Sonnen. Put this behind me and then defend the title. Line him up, number 1 through 30, and he can fight all the top contenders. And like I said, let me reiterate, all the top contenders that are pissed off that Chael Sonnen has a title shot are the same guys that I called and turned down fighting John Jones.
And just lastly for Chael, John says that it doesn't really matter whether it devalues the championship because you're not getting close to that belt anyway. What's your response?
Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't make any difference. If John was the champion or wasn't the champion, I'm going to go beat up John Jones. And that's it. It sounds like he's in the same boat. And, I like it. I like it when two guys want to fight. I want to fight John Jones. So there you go. He can hang on to his belt. I'll take his belt right now if I want it. What's he going to do about it?
Thanks a lot.
He continues to act as though he's done something impressive. Or who did he ever beat? I mean, come on. It's been a revolving door in that division. When Couture and Liddell left, that division became a joke. Now, John may be the guy. He may be the guy, but he isn't yet. Come on.
Come on, Chael.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Chael, really?
Next will be Matt Erickson with MMAJunkie.com. Matt Erickson, again, your line is open. Go ahead. Hearing no response to that line, we'll go to Brett Okamoto with ESPN.
Hey, Dana, quick question for you. Do you have any update on Dan Henderson's health and when we might see that fight with him and Machida?
I don't know. Now that I got this thing done, I need to dive into what we're going to do. Obviously, Gustafsson and Shogun are fighting on December, and now I got to start putting some other fights together here for the rest of the light heavyweight division. So yeah, I'll start working on that this week.
Was there any thought at all into putting Dan Henderson into the role against Jon Jones instead of Chael, or it just sounds like timing-wise you believe that Dan will be healthy before then, so you didn't want him to be inactive? Is that correct?
I don't know about Dan. That's the thing. We were talking about Dan. About Dan Henderson, trying to get him to fight again after his injury. They said it was only going to be a few weeks. Said it would be a few weeks. He had to wear that brace and stay off it and all this stuff. But then a few weeks later, his knee wasn't ready. So, the thing is, you guys have to understand, we got to pull the trigger, make decisions around here, and if guys aren't ready to fight, we got to make some decisions.
Yeah. So I guess playing devil's advocate, because everything you say about the timing makes sense, but I think some people would say, well, why not just have Dan coach opposite Jon, because he was the rightful number one contender anyway, but it sounds like you didn't make that decision because of just some uncertainty about Dan's situation.
Yeah, I don't know what Dan's situation. I don't even know if Dan would do The Ultimate Fighter. You know what I mean? It's a lot trickier than that. It's easy to sit on the outside and go, oh, you should have done this and you should have done that. Yeah, trust me. Getting shit done around here is a lot harder than it looks.
Okay, thanks for that. And then just real quickly, can you confirm Forrest Griffin is staying on the card in December, right? And have you guys figured out a new opponent for him or not quite yet?
Forrest is still the co-main event, and we think we have an opponent for him. I'm not going to say anything until it's a done deal.
Okay. Thank you, Dana. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Moving on to Dave Coulson with The Score.
Hi, my first question is for John. It was brought up a little earlier. You said you have some coaches in mind. Were you able to divulge who those coaches will be at this point?
Right now, I've confirmed a few guys, but I'm not really willing to talk about all the guys right now. But my wrestling coach, Izzy Martinez, Izzy Style Wrestling, he'll be the wrestling coach, and I want to, Mike Lincoln and Greg Jackson are really busy guys, so I might go to some of my very original trainers before I came to Jackson's. I might reach out to a lot of those guys and give those guys, give them an opportunity to kind of give back to my original training staff. So where Greg and Wink will probably be coming in here and there, you guys get to meet the people who taught me how to fight. They will taught me the basics in the beginning.
All right, and just one question for Chael. Chael, obviously, when an opportunity arises to fight for a title, you don't want to turn that down. But is there any part of you that was hoping you could possibly get a fight at light heavyweight to get accustomed to the weight prior to getting a title shot? Because you haven't fought at 205 in a few years now.
No, I don't care about these weights. I've never cared. When I started, we didn't even have weight classes, so it doesn't make any difference to me. And I would much rather fight in the main event, and I would much rather fight for a title. But aside from all of that, I'd much rather just fight Jon Jones. So the only thing that delegitimizes the title is the brat holding it. Next question.
Right. Thank you, guys.
Moving on to Reed Forgrave with FoxSports.com.
This is a question for Jon Jones. John, clearly there's no love lost between you and Chael, so I just want to ask you, I guess, point blank, how do you feel about him as a person? How do you feel about Chael as a person?
Chael's an interesting guy, man. He's a guy that, I respect some things about him, like the way he he goes out there and he gets what he wants, everything except for world championships or any championships. He's a good talker. He's definitely good for the sport in some ways. He's extremely disrespectful. Not much of a championship level athlete at all. But he has his qualities. Most of his qualities are going to come to light when he retires, and he's able to through his TV shows and his commentating and things like that. But, right now I feel as if I'm doing a lot of people in the sport a favor. I'm doing Chael a favor by, showing what his true calling is, and that's using that gift of gab, not athletic talent.
Next is Damon Martin with MMAweekly.com.
First question is for John. Some of this rivalry with you and Chael started on Twitter. I know there was some of this stuff's been back and forth, very personal. He talked about your DWI and some things like that. And was there any concern with the things getting too personal, or is that all open game at this point?
Well, you know what? I know who I am, and I know what Chael is. I know Chael guy was very little class, and so if he goes extremely deep and personal, then honestly, I think that might work against him. I think a lot of people kind of respect promoting a fight and taking things to the personal level. I don't think it's working for him. I don't think he cares. So if it gets personal, then it is what it is.
And kind of the same question for Chael. Is there anything off limits as you head into this show?
Well, of course, there's things that are off limits, but going into the show is look. I'm not picking a fight. I have my fight, so that's it. But I mean, I don't offer any apologies, and if it offends them, or John used that stupid word, disrespectful. Like that matters or something. I couldn't possibly care less. But yeah, of course, there's limits to everything. And even though I want to beat John up, he is a wrestler, and there is a fraternity, and I'll always have a spot for him, in my heart. So there you go.
And one question for Dana. Dana, can you just real quick talk to us about the timeline, how this came together? Because I know just a few days ago, everyone's teasing about Jones and maybe Silva doing the super fight. And I know nothing's ever been a done deal, but what was the timeline and the decision-making of this coming together? Because it seems like it came about pretty quick.
Yeah, it did come together quick. It actually started when we found out that Jones was hurt. He went to see his doctor in New York. Again, I don't know all the details. John would know better, but went to see his doctor out there. They got an MRI, thought he was fine. We brought him out here to L.A. to get looked at, and the doctor said, no way, shouldn't fight till April. He was going to be sitting around till April, so we figured it out.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Moving on to Richard Hunter with KRLD Radio.
Yeah, thanks. Question for Dana. Dana, you mentioned a little while ago about Chael Sonnen willing to step up originally on 8 days' notice to save the 151 card. Selecting him to coach the Ultimate Fighter, getting in the fight with Jon Jones, is this something that you would maybe like other fighters to see as a little bit of a message that when somebody is willing to step up and sacrifice, that the favor could be reciprocated down the line?
No, it's not really about that. I mean, the reality is, I said it earlier, and it's true. When that card fell apart and we started making calls, all the top contenders that we called absolutely turned down the fight. So I don't want to hear any bitching out of any of them. You know what I mean? Too bad. You guys had the opportunity to fight Jon Jones. You had the opportunity. I gave it to you. I called you, offered you that fight, and you all turned it down. Chael Sonnen was the only one who accepted that fight, which stirred up and created this whole controversy and everything that went on between me and John and everything else. And then John gets injured in the Vitor Belfort fight. And, as I continued to talk to John started again. I'll let John speak for himself, and he said it earlier. He liked the idea of fighting Chael and putting this chapter behind him and all the people who thought that he was afraid to fight him. So it all just sort of worked out this way.
Question for John. Obviously, matching up with Chael Sonnen wrestling is going to be a topic of conversation here. It might be a little early to game plan for the fight, but Chael is, arguably the premier wrestler in the company. Wrestling has worked out for you well in the past. How do you see wrestling factoring into this fight, or would you think you would immediately take a different approach to beating him?
Well, I say time and time again that it isn't a wrestling match. I really don't have much pride in never being taken down. It's just has never happened because how seriously I take wrestling. I've fought in Rashad Evans, very fast and explosive double-leg dive that just powers right through you, lifting you off your feet. He couldn't do it. Vladimir Matyushenko, Matt Hamill, who else? Jake O'Brien. So Chael Sonnen definitely is a pretty good wrestler. But the guy was an Olympic alternate. He wasn't actually on the team. No disrespect to any other alternates out there today, but I don't really consider him Chael Sanderson or a legit wrestler. He was a freaking alternate. So maybe he will get me down. Who cares if he does? He gets submitted all the time on the top position, anyways. And I think I have a very solid jiu-jitsu game. They're on my back, and I've never been able to display it. So I highly doubt his wrestling will play a gigantic factor in the fight. I wrestled since I was a 14-year-old little boy. I still wrestle every day. I freaking love wrestling. I definitely prepare to use my takedowns against him. If he does get me down, so what? His ground and pound is very weak, and he gets submitted all the time anyway. So I don't care if he takes me down. I really don't feel any threat on my back against Chael Sonnen. And I know for a fact, if I get him down, his face is probably going to open up. We'll definitely work a lot more guard passes. My Vitor Belfort fight was not impressed with my own top game. Although I finished that fight in a submission, I still wasn't impressed with a lot of things. So I just think when it comes to wrestling, I have nothing to worry about. When it comes to wrestling, I have nothing to worry about. When it comes to jiu-jitsu, I think I have a slight edge in jiu-jitsu. When it comes to kickboxing, I know I have a freaking edge in kickboxing. His punching power on his feet is nothing crazy. Mine is nothing crazy. I'm not intimidated by his kicks. I really don't see any way for Chael to win this fight, but I'm still going to train like an absolute madman because losing to Chael is not an option. So, I'm going to treat him as if he's the biggest opponent that I've ever had. I definitely am ready to smack down on him for a lot of the things that he said about other people, not even me. And I'm just ready to send this guy to the relevance, send him to the movies.
And, Chael, let me get your response to that. Will you take Jon Jones down?
God, that was so painful, John. Try to wrap your answers up, brother. That was just awful. Yes, I of course I will take John down repeatedly.
That's awesome.
All right, thanks, guys.
Moving on to Chris Poppins with 102.5 The Game.
Hey, Dana, will there be any format changes for this TUF, or will it be similar to what you're doing now?
Yeah, there's going to be a couple of things that we do different in this show that we're talking about right now.
Next will be Adam Martin with The Score.
Dan, just as far as the changes go, you mentioned that you were possibly going back to the live format. Is that a possibility for this upcoming season?
No.
Okay. And another thing you said earlier was, you're all about making the fights the fans want to see, and there's obviously a lot of fans that want to see this fight. I think a lot of fans still want to see the Nick Diaz and GSP fight. Is it possible that Diaz, when he comes back from suspension, will get a title shot?
Yeah, well, when Diaz gets off suspension, he'll have a fight against one of the top guys at 170 pounds, and then we'll see what happens. But yeah, obviously, I agree. A lot of people want to see that fight.
Another question for you, Dana. Some people are saying that the reason you put Chael and John as the coaches is because the ratings haven't been that great. Was that part of the reasoning behind this?
Well, no. Obviously, I laid it out here today why this happened and why this went down. But the fact that everybody says we're doing this because of the ratings makes it sound like people think that this will be great ratings. So, good. I like it.
And Chuck, how do you expect the ratings to do for this upcoming season?
They should be epic.
Great. And just one more question for John. You mentioned TRT and Chael earlier. What are your thoughts on that, John? Is it something you just you don't want in the sport?
What's your question?
Just about TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, and Chael obviously is a recipient of that. Is that something that you don't really like?
Yeah, I think it's terrible. I think it's absolutely terrible if you're going to consider yourself an athlete. TRT will be perfect for Chael Sonnen if he wasn't competing in one of the toughest sports in the world. I think Chael Sonnen made tons of money when he was a young guy, and now he's an older guy. And now just to be able to take a drug and super enhance yourself back to where you were in your 20s is bull. Right now I'm 25. I'm sure I'm not as giddy and happy-go-lucky as I was when I was 20. So if I take a drug at my 25-year-old age and have the energy of a 20-year-old, it just wouldn't be fair. Everyone would hate me if I did it, but Chael Sonnen gets to do it. I think it's bullcrap.
And Chael, you said in the past that if you don't take TRT, you could die. So I mean, how do you respond to Jones saying that to you just now?
I don't have any comment on the topic.
Okay, Chael, one more thing for you. You're going up to 205. So what changes are you going to make as far as your diet and just strength and conditioning is concerned?
I won't make any. There's really no change. You're talking about 20 pounds, and I really struggled to get to 185. In college as a wrestler, I was a 197 pounder. So, as an adult, I've had to compete at a smaller weight than I was even when I was younger. It was difficult. So, I won't have any changes. We'll make the weight class just fine and move on to the fight.
Next question will come from Matthew Roth with Bleacher Report. Again, Matthew Roth, your line is open. You can go ahead with your question, please.
Yes, this question's for Dana White. Dana, there has been a lot of people have been talking about this fight between Chael and Jon Jones. Do you feel that the build-up will maybe make people understand the reasoning behind the booking of this fight?
Do I think that the build-up for this fight will make people understand the what?
Why you've gone ahead and booked this fight? Do you believe that Chael Sonnen's gift of gab will basically justify in a lot of the critics' minds why you booked this fight?
Well, everybody keeps saying that. Everybody keeps saying, because he talks, because he does this. Look, I said it 15 times on this call and 15 times before this. Let me say it again. He's the only guy that stepped up. And I see some knuckleheads on Twitter going, Dan Henderson was hurt. Yeah, that's right. Dan Henderson was hurt. He was injured and had to pull out of this fight. Every other contender turned down this fight. Chael Sonnen was the only one who took it. It's not like Chael Sonnen just started, saying bad stuff about Jon Jones, and now he's got this opportunity. He was going to take this fight on 8 days' notice. Was going to step up and take this fight on 8 days' notice when none of the top contenders, except for Dan Henderson, who was injured, turned it down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And our last question will be a follow-up from Dave Meltzer with MMAfighting.com.
Actually, this is a quick one. What's the scheduled date as far as the filming? Do you have like a start date and what the 6 weeks are going to be essentially?
When do we start filming?
Yeah.
The 29th.
Of October
Yep.
or November?
October. We
so
start filming here soon.
So you're starting filming in 2 weeks? Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Thank you, Dave.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Dana.
All right, guys. Thank you all very much for the time. We appreciate it and the support. We'll see you soon.